What's up, y'all? Welcome back for part 2 of our Mary J. Blige story. We're just going to jump right into it. Mary's first album was a smash, ultimately going quadruple platinum with over 4 million albums sold. Not only was it perhaps the best album released in 1992, it also will become one of the greatest albums of all time. Her first 2 singles from the album, You Remind Me and Real Love, both went number 1, while also crossing over to the pop charts. Her next 3 singles, Reminisce, Sweet Thing, and Love No Limit, each made it into the top 10. On top of that, she also earned the nickname the Queen of Hip Hop Soul. Almost immediately, everything with Mary's career started happening very quickly. She began touring, and there were always different parties that she had to go to. Even though she was now a star, Mary was beginning to face things that she never had to worry about before. For example, when you're a nobody and you're late for a performance, people are just blaming it on the star. However, when you're the one that people are talking about and that people are paying their hard-earned money to see, every wrong thing you do is magnified. Mary found this out when she was late for interviews. She also was gaining a reputation as being difficult, as she sometimes became visibly irritated with interview questions or reacted negatively to them. While the press enjoyed seeing her sing and act like an around-the-way girl on stage, they didn't want to necessarily interview anybody like that. Seeing all this, Mary started feeling like people were out to get her. On top of all that, even though Mary was now a successful recording artist, she still didn't like herself. Looking back on her life immediately after she dropped out of high school, at that time, Mary began succumbing to the things that were in her environment. She had low self-esteem because she'd always been made to feel that she was ugly and that she was nothing. As a result, she began abusing both alcohol and drugs. She also became sexually promiscuous. Mary would later say that at that time, she was doing whatever it took to make herself feel even just a little bit better. Now, she was famous, but not much else had changed. She still thought she was ugly, which added to her depression. She also was still abusing alcohol and drugs, especially cocaine. During this time, she felt that whatever she needed to do to make herself comfortable was okay. One thing that was different this time, as opposed to when she had just dropped out of high school, is that she was now in love. Prior to the release of her first album, Mary began a relationship with label mate K-Ci Hailey. Hailey was a member of the group Jodeci. He'd also sung a duet with Mary on her debut album titled I Don't Want to Do Anything. Initially, it seemed like K-Ci might be good for Mary, as he strengthened her self-confidence. One of the ways he did this was by convincing her that she was just as good musically as he and his group Jodeci were. At the time, a year before Mary's debut, Jodeci was coming off their own debut album, which went triple platinum with over 3 million albums sold. What seemed like it should have been a great match, with 2 young and successful singers getting together, was anything but that. In fact, here's a story that happened early in their relationship that would turn out to be a microcosm of their time together. Prior to the release of Mary's first album, she was touring with Jodeci. During one of the tour stops, K-Ci decided he wanted to hook up with one of his backup dancers, and he couldn't wait, so he had to do it in the bathroom. Meanwhile, he had a member of security stand guard in front of the door to ensure that he had his privacy. Somehow, though, Mary knew what K-Ci was up to, and she pushed her way past the guard to get in that bathroom. And once she got in there, everybody was fair game. She started beating up K-Ci and the girl. K-Ci pushed Mary down. Then he got ready to kick her. Keep in mind that Jodeci was always wearing their military-style boots. So the only thing that stopped him from doing it was a bodyguard picking him up and carrying him away from Mary, where he couldn't get at her. While Mary was deeply in love with K-Ci, he wasn't quite as much into her. He was also physically abusive to her, as we already covered. What should have been a happy and exciting time in Mary's life was the opposite of that. Combined with the issues that she already had and the vices she was already using to cope with life, K-Ci's abuse helped push Mary to the lowest and darkest point of her young life. Whatever else was going on with her though, music was always there for her. She would turn the pain she was feeling from life, as well as from her relationship with Hailey, into musical gold. A little over 2 years after her debut album, Mary's second album, titled My Life, was released on November the 29th, 1994. Even though individually released singles weren't as popular as they were on her previous album, My Life was still a smash, as it went triple platinum. The album was also critically acclaimed. Everything that Mary was going through became subject matter for this album. Themes relating to abusive relationships, alcohol abuse, clinical depression, drug abuse ran through every song. Even the song title spoke to the pain that each song contained. You Bring Me Joy, I'm the Only Woman, My Life, You Gotta Believe, I Never Want to Live Without You, I'm Going Down, Be With You, Don't Go, I Love You, No One Else, and Be Happy. These weren't just song titles. They each were either affirmations of love or pleas to be loved. Listening to the songs reveals more of the same, as the entire album was about Mary crying out for love and help. Even recording the album was an emotional trip for Mary. Chucky Thompson, one of the producers on the album, remembers her crying in the booth as they recorded the song Never Want to Live Without You. At the time, Mary told the press that her album was just music. It wasn't autobiographical in any way. Instead, she said that her album was about everyday life, what anybody would encounter when they left their house. Getting back to her relationship with K-Ci, the two of them couldn't handle their combined success. Additionally, Mary could never really enjoy her personal success while she was with him. He manipulated her, and she had to dumb herself down just so she could be with him. While Mary would want to leave K-Ci, her insecurities would always pop up. They would tell her that he was the best that she could ever do, and that their relationship was as good as things could ever be for her. Getting back to Mary's career, with the release of her My Life album, the label wanted to present her as being more of a professional artist. One of the ways they attempted to accomplish this was a throwback to the way the Motown record label used to handle their artists. Motown owner Berry Gordy made his artists attend classes to learn how to handle themselves at all times. Ultimately, Gordy's goal was to have his artists know how to act and carry themselves when doing interviews or even when in the presence of royalty. With that idea in mind, Uptown signed Mary up for a 24-week artist development course with an emphasis on etiquette. Later, though, Mary would admit that she dropped out at 17 weeks. Despite that, now during interviews she spoke about her earlier bad behavior, such as being late and being snippy with reporters, as a thing of the past. Mary called that her unprofessional period. In part, she blamed her past irritability with the press on issues with her label. She said, quote, "You have to pay back every dime that your record company invested in you before you see a penny. As hard as I worked, I wasn't making any money sometimes, and I wasn't happy about that at all." Unquote. One thing that was obvious with Mary is that she was now more comfortable in her interviews, especially when it came to talking about herself. However, there was one topic she was increasingly getting tired of being asked about: her relationship with K-Ci. Occasionally, she would respond to these questions by saying she didn't like being asked about who she was sleeping with. Other times, she would ask the interviewer if they themselves would like to answer numerous questions about their significant other. We're going to take a time out from the story right now to ask everyone to be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification bell, and repeat with our videos. Also, take some time to check out some of the other videos on our channel. One last thing. Some of our subscribers are saying that they haven't been getting notified about our videos. Please be sure that you have a check mark next to all when you check your subscribe status relating to our page, just like the example you're seeing now on screen. Now, back to our story. On the production side of her career, Mary was much more in charge this time around. On her debut album, Mary didn't write any songs. This time, Mary either wrote or co-wrote 14 of the album's 17 songs. In this way, she was showing that her success wasn't merely a product of great production, but also because of her writing skills and vocal performances. This would prove to be important because by this point in time, Puff Daddy had been fired by Uptown. As a result, he'd moved on and started his own record label, Bad Boy Records. While special arrangements were made with Harrell in order for Puff to produce Mary's My Life album, Puff was now focused on producing his own artists, which included people like Faith Evans. This also meant that Mary was losing her standing with Combs and couldn't just simply rely on him when it came to her production. They no longer worked for the same label, and naturally, his artists would always come first. In late 1994 and early 1995, Mary would try her hand at two all-time classic songs. First, in conjunction with the TV show and soundtrack, New York Undercover, Mary sang the song You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. The song, of course, was originally sung by the iconic Aretha Franklin, and was a song that most artists wouldn't even dream of attempting to cover. Not only did Mary dare to do it, the very fact that her version was deemed as acceptable and wasn't attacked by critics or the public was a success in itself. She'd have help on the next iconic song she covered, You're All I Need to Get By. The song was originally made famous by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. This time around, a singer would be paired with a rapper, as Mary performed with Method Man. Additionally, the song wasn't an exact cover of the original, but contained elements of it. The title of this new version was different too. It was now called I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need to Get By. Initially appearing on Method Man's album in 1994, the song was released as a single in April of 1995. The song was a hit, as it went platinum. Furthermore, the song became a sort of ride-or-die anthem for young couples at the time. Meanwhile, during this time, a flashback to the old Mary would surface. When the July 1995 issue of Interview magazine was released, it contained an interview with Mary which had been conducted by model Veronica Webb. Prior to the interview, Mary believed that she had an understanding with Webb that a lot of what she said and did would be off the record. Unfortunately for Mary, that was not the case. At the beginning of the article, Webb states that she met Mary on the set of her upcoming video for her song, You Bring Me Joy. Veronica says that she had to wait for over 3 hours before she even got to approach Mary. She also says that she'd been warned beforehand that Mary could be both moody and attacking when being interviewed. Prior to that, Webb set the scene for what she was watching by describing Mary and others sitting in a Jeep, taking a chronic break while drinking 40 ounces. After that, Webb finally got to approach Mary. Veronica says that Mary became angry because she thought Webb would just be hanging out right now and that the actual interview would happen some other time. Mary then proceeded to roll the windows up, slam the doors to her Jeep, and shut Webb out. More time passed. Hours passed. And what Webb described as a quote-unquote ghetto extravaganza ensued, complete with fried chicken and collard greens. Later, Mary asked Webb to take her to the liquor store so that she can get some Newport cigarettes. Once they got to the store, Mary told Veronica that, quote-unquote, you need a drink, girl, and proceeded to purchase a bottle of Malibu liquor. Once they got back to the set of the video, Mary told Webb that she could only come into her trailer if she agreed to drink the Malibu with her and add some beer to it as well. Later, among other things, Webb said that Mary removed the top off a bottle of Heineken beer with her teeth. Once they got into the interview, Mary told Veronica that she was asking stupid questions. Shortly after that, still angry about the question, Mary decided to challenge Veronica to a fist fight. Veronica did not take her up on it. Ultimately, the article presented Mary in the most unflattering light possible. At the time, Mary felt betrayed by Veronica. Much later, though, she would refer to this incident as a personal low in relation to her drug use. Another low point for Mary would also happen in 1995. While in the United Kingdom, she appeared on the British TV show The Word. While there, the host of the show did her dirty. by setting her up. Early on in the show, Mary announced that K-Ci had given her a ring and that they were engaged. What Mary didn't know is that the show had a clip that they just couldn't wait to play. Shortly after Mary announced her engagement, the show played a clip of K-Ci, who had appeared on the same show the week before Mary. In this clip, when he was asked about being engaged to Mary, K-Ci denied it as the crowd cheered him on. He went on to say that it was just quote-unquote a rumor for the States. After the clip was over, Mary was understandably embarrassed at being humiliated that way. The host then asked her if they were engaged. Now, why would they ask her that? They just heard the dude say no. They just really trying to rub this thing in. Okay, the host then asked her if they were engaged, to which Mary replied, quote-unquote, no. We're not getting married now. After a follow-up question about whether there was a huge engagement ring or not, Mary asked them to, quote-unquote, please move on from the topic. As with any story, there are two sides to this one as well. Years later, K-Ci would tell his side. While he admitted that he loved Mary, he said that he was young, wild, and living life, and he wasn't interested in being anybody's husband. He didn't want to settle down because he was too busy partying every day and hooking up with different women. He also says that Mary was aware that he didn't want to be tied down. Furthermore, even when he told her and he made it obvious to Mary that he didn't want her around, she continued to come to him. K-Ci says that the incident that made him end their relationship happened in London. During one of Jodeci's shows, Mary ran on stage and snatched the mic from K-Ci. She then told a fan in the front row, quote, bitch, don't you ever touch my man again, unquote. He also said that Mary used to break up Jodeci's hotel parties because she couldn't take the fact that all those girls were there. He says that at one point, he did give Mary a ring, but it wasn't because he wanted to marry her. He says that he did it because she kept hinting to him that she wanted a ring. He also claimed that any thoughts of them getting married were all in Mary's head, and that they had never even talked about starting a family together. Finally, he says that he told her to go find a man that was ready to settle down and play hubby. To finish it off, he said that they were never as serious as people thought they were. All right, so now we've heard both sides. Who do y'all believe, Mary or K-Ci? Let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know your opinions. Mary would later describe her relationship with K-Ci as, quote-unquote, one giant hole of darkness. She also said that their time together made her so depressed that it brought back things from her past that she'd never dealt with. Ultimately, Mary eventually got tired of being sick and tired, and the two of them broke up. Good Lord. We're going to stop the story right there. Thanks, everybody, for coming to check us out and listening to and watching our video. If you have not watched episode 1 before this one, please go and check it out. And then we also hope you will come back and join us for part 3 of the Mary J. Blige story. We hope you'll come back as we put out more content as well. Thanks again and see you soon.